Hi Cancer, welcome to your January 2024 Astro Tarotscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign, though if you're only going to watch one, make sure it's your ascendant because these are based on the astrology that is likely to be the most accurate for you. And remember, I use whole sign tropical Western astrology for those of you that would like to know. For those of you that are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. And if you are a continued subby, my lunar brothers and sisters, you know I am, Rafi loves you. All right, so before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So we're going to pop these to the side and put these here. So the first transit that I would like to look at is Mars, the planet of action, energy, passion, willpower, desire, personal power, energy, right? Irritation, excitation, friction is coming into the sign of Capricorn. So Mars coming into the sign of Capricorn is a good thing for all of us because Mars moving into Capricorn is what we call exalted. This is where Mars does some of its greatest work in the sign of Capricorn. Now, for you, Capricorn is the 7th house. This is relationships, and it's going to offer you a chance to either sever some kind of tie with a personal partner, a personal, professional, or platonic connection of some sort, right? Remember, Mars is severing, it's it's cutting, removing, releasing, all of that kind of stuff. But it's also action and energy, right? So since Mars for you rules your 10th house of career, and it also rules your 5th house of romance, pleasure, sex, all of those kind of exciting things. This might be a moment where you kind of stand your ground on what you're not willing to compromise on, and will remove, like the thing with Cancer, right? So if you observe the behavior of crabs, now, if you've been with me long enough, you know I can talk smack about Cancers all day long because I have a Cancer moon. I'm very proud of that fact as well, right? But it must be said that when distressed, if you observe the behavior of crabs, they will literally cut off one of their own limbs to escape a situation that they don't want to be in, or it's probably the epitome of the phrase that we use in the UK. Cut your nose off to spite your face. Cancer will cut a limb off to run away, right? Or to get out of something. So if you need to, this Mars in the 7th house, if there's a personal, professional, or platonic tie that you are no longer interested in, this will see you getting really proactive about releasing that. Now, the other thing is, on an internal level, Mars is your willpower, it's your drive. And Mars for you, as I said, it rules your 10th house of career, but it also rules your 5th house of creativity. So it's almost like your energy is seeking a way through others or through connections with others to really express itself in a creative way. So since this is any and all commitments of some kinds and contracts, there's a chance here, if you desire, to get away from or release a contract of some sort that you actually don't want to be a part of, but it could also make you more proactive about pursuing the kinds of contracts, connections, and commitments that you actually feel are going to be very beneficial for you moving forward. So so Mars moves into the sign of Capricorn on the 4th of January. On the 8th of January, Mercury, the planet of communication, conversation, the transactions of money and resources, comes into a square with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. This for you is happening across the 6th house and the 9th house, right? So this is a pretty big deal because your 6th house is your work, it's your day-to-day habits, your health routines, etc. Whereas the 9th house is very much about your belief structure, right? So this is an interesting a set of connections because a square is an energy that causes a problem. So there is a chance here to miscommunicate. Mercury is communication. Neptune distorts, it covers in cloud, it creates a bit of a fog. So there's a chance here that some kind of miscommunication could show up for you. The two are, of course, linked when we talk about health and spirituality. They absolutely are. I'll tell you a really interesting story story. So did you know that the Gregorian chants that monks do? When the abbey was invaded, they forbade the monks to chant anymore, right? And within, I think it was something crazy, like within 3 months, half of them had got sick, and the other half and half of them had got sick, and I think about 3 or 4 of them died. And that's because their energy, their bodies were so used to doing that chanting and that religious observation that to have it suddenly stripped away from them, it really affected them on a deep level. So, and for me, that really speaks volumes as to how our health and our spirituality really are very linked. Now, that being said, this could also be where your thoughts are having a very powerful psychosomatic effect on your physical body and your health. If there ever was one, there's a time for you to practice both emotional control and emotional self-regulation. This is definitely it, right? Just because of the planets that are involved. Mercury for you obviously rules your 3rd house of communications, but also your 12th house of your self-sabotaging tendencies, your hidden and private self. So there is a chance here, there's a chance here that you might be prone to hyping something up in a way that's actually not healthy for you. It's like you maybe create a problem, or maybe a problem arises within your work sphere, within your health, or maybe even within your schooling or something along those lines, or maybe something with a grandparent, because the 9th house is grandparents. It could get out of hand because it's like you focus so much emotional energy on it that you throw yourself out of balance. Be careful here. I'll give you another example. I never forget, years ago, it was probably about 8 years ago, I got an ear infection. It was so bloody painful. And I remember going to the doctor, and he said to me, he had a look in there and he was rummage about, and he was like, scratching his head. You could see him going through the whole thought process. And he said to me, how often do you clean your ears? And I was like, every day. And he was like, no, oh my God, no, like you can't. You're supposed to have a little bit of something in there to protect everything. So you have to stop doing that. He said once a week is sufficient, and maybe even once a fortnight is actually sufficient. This could be something like that. You might, because Mercury speeds things up, right? And in the sign of Sagittarius, it's prone to exaggerate. So you might be doing something that you think is a health practice, but you could actually be overdoing it. And so therefore it's like maybe you're washing your hair with like a really harsh chemical every single day, and it's just absolutely stripping the life out of it. There's something here where, and it might be you think this is right. Someone says something to you and you're like, well, no, that can't be right. My belief says this. And it's like you could come to realize that through a miscommunication, you actually realize, okay, there's something that I do need to stop doing. Now, if you're studying, this might be a challenge that comes up with a teacher or a lecturer at this point. If you are so inclined, it could also be an issue with a pet that doesn't make any sense. And I hope that's not the case, because we love the fur babies in the Reydiant Nation. Now, if you do have any issues with your fur babies, get a second opinion. And if you can, I would, if you absolutely have to do it, the 6th to the 10th is the transit window, right? If it's a serious issue with a pet and you think, no, this can't wait, or even if it's a serious issue with your own health and it can't wait, obviously I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, and I would say go to the doctor, right? But what I will say is once this transit window ends, so after like the 10th of the month, get a second opinion on the same thing, all right? Just because there's a miscommunication in the air everywhere at the moment. If you can, and it's safe to, I would even wait until Mercury moves into Capricorn, because energy, ideas, etc. are going to be much clearer at that point. So for this, did I forget to pull cards for the Mars transit? I think I did. All right, so going back to the Mars transit, you have the 6 of Cups, right? So Mars moving into Capricorn. You've got the 6 of Cups, the World card, and the 10 of Swords. So because this is moving into your 7th house, the world card is, I'm talking about the Mars transit now, going back to the 4th of the month when Mars moves into the sign of Capricorn, its sign of exaltation, your personal 7th house. These cards represent that. I apologize, Mercury's retrograde at the moment for me as well. So you've got the 6 of Cups, that's the past. The world card is a community, and then you've got the 10 of Swords. You're breaking ties with some kind of community here. So it's not necessarily just a one-on-one, or it may be that you break ties with a person that is a one-on-one, and therefore it leads you to break ties with a community of some sort. There's something here that suggests you're coming out of or away from what A, really doesn't serve, but B, really doesn't speak to your soul anymore. And especially where it comes to partnerships, public relations, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so your second transit, which was the Mercury square Neptune in Pisces, which was across your 6th and 9th houses, and this is on the 8th of the month. So the transit window is the 6th to the 10th. You have the Knight of Wands with the Lover's card. Look, this is so interesting, right? So I've always typified the Knight of Wands as a very Sagittarian energy. Then you've got the Lover's card, which is Gemini. Gemini's ruler is Mercury. And then you've got the Three of Pentacles. And because this is happening across your 6th and 9th houses, the Three of Pentacles is very much about learning. It's very much about information, the processing of information, etc. There's something here that's being hyped up out of proportion. And that Knight of Wands, you're very passionate about a decision that you've made to move ahead with certain information. You could go off on that information, or you could overdo it in some way, and the result could be not catastrophic, but it's like very quickly, once the transit comes to a close and then Mercury moves back into Capricorn, or should I say back into Capricorn, you could be like, oh, okay, now I start to, do you know what I mean? Like, you get a moment where it's like, yeah, I completely misjudged that, or I didn't hear what was said and went off half-cocked on a crazy mission for some reason. Now, on the 21st of the month, Pluto, the Lord of Power, transformation, change, deep emotional energy, deep currents of everything. Remember, Pluto is secret, and it brings everything up from the depths. It's power, transformation, magnetism. Pluto is a very magnetic energy. It comes for you into the 8th house. This is about as deep as it gets, right? So for those of you that are ascendant Cancerians, this is one of the heavier transits. I'm really sorry to say that, but the 8th house is crisis and conflict and challenge. It is a place of power. It is a place of power dynamics, exchanges of personal power, all of that good stuff. So this is something to keep in mind, right? You're getting a little taster of what's going on here. It's going to get about as deep as the ocean, right? You are already as deep as the ocean, and this transit is about that deep as well. You are prone to changes and shifts, just like the tide. The issue is that Pluto is just as deep, if not deeper than you are, right? And so the message with this is, through really seeing humanity as they are, Aquarius, warts and all, right, you will be able to transform yourself and others in very powerful ways. The 8th house is crisis, it is conflict, it is challenge, right? But it's also a very spiritual place because it's the occult house. Astrology, tarot, numerology. If you've ever wanted to study any of those things, my tarot course is coming up. Enrollment will start mid-July. If you've ever wanted to study any of these things, when Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius, this is your moment. You will be able to delve deeper into these subjects, probably than, apart from those that are having this transit in the 4th, the 8th, and you are the 8th, so whoever's having the transit in the 4th house, the 12th house, or the 8th house will be able to, like, your power to research will be incredible because you're able to go that much deeper than most people, right? This is the energy of power and control. Who has it? Who wants it? And it could really show you what you fear at a deep level, right? If Saturn is fear, Pluto is terror. And I don't say this to scare you. I say it to show you to empower yourself, right? This is to really go deep into anything. And when we understand what we're afraid of and why, suddenly it's not that scary anymore, right? And that's what this is, that's what's happening here. The trick is not minding that it's showing you the worst of people, and also that it's dredging up the depths of your entire history, right? You become empowered when you don't hide away. The Cancer retreat, you know, if you've been with me long enough, I talk about the Cancer cave, right? My mood sign, whenever shit gets real or it gets a bit, I just kind of scurry back into my hole. Like, I'll do everything, you know, I continue to live and I continue to live out in the world, but when my stuff tends to show up, I just kind of withdraw, you know, into myself, and I just deal with it alone. It's quite a toxic behavior, but I'm learning slowly but surely. The Cancer cave isn't going to cut it with this. All right, so the new coping mechanism has to be that you come out of the Cancer cave and you face it. And that's not to say that you can't be who you are. It's not to say that you have to change, because nobody can change fundamentally who they are, but we can make big changes and transformations in our lives, which is what the 8th house wants from you. And Pluto coming into the 8th is basically saying, do or die, adapt or die, change or die. Not that you're going to die, but you see what I mean? So be more out in the open with your findings, with your messages, and with your power. You know, my moon doth tremble. I will say that much. All right, so you got the 9 of Swords, that's the worry and the anxiety. But then you've got the King of Pentacles, which suggests that by doing the slow, steady, incremental work, this is how the true change takes place, right? And by really dedicating yourself to the solid path. Remember as well, the King of Pentacles, and you've got this, sorry, should I say, with the 8 of Swords. So the message here is that the moment you start to feel stuck, the reason you are feeling stuck is because you're refusing to change, all right? If you do that, if you cling to, you know, do the Cancer thing with your pincers, if you just cling to what is, you're not going to move forward, and you're going to feel the frustration, the anxiety and the fear that much more. Whereas if you do what's different, if you step forward in some way, if you choose to go in a different direction to what you usually would, change can happen. And there may be an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo, that really helps see you through this, right? Remember, this is just the start of this transit. It's a 20-year transit, so it's going to change and shift you in huge fundamental ways, all right? Like huge. I cannot emphasize the huge part enough. Okay. And then finally, and that's on the 21st of the month, on the 23rd of the month, Venus, the lady of pleasure, leisure, abundance, luxury, skills, talents, shining, clean, and cleanliness, and harmony, and diplomacy, and all of those good things comes into the sign of Capricorn, into your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, significant others, one connections, and contracts. Now, at this point, Mercury is also in Capricorn, so we've got a build-up of energies in this 7th house. This is a lot of energy. This is a lot of personal planet energy, which means things will be starting to move really quickly when it comes to partnerships and relationships at this time. Now, Venus coming into your 7th of relationships, it sees you start to clean up and clear up all of the challenges that you had around those things, right? Where tempers have flared and irritation has set in within relationships, Venus will bring things down. She'll bring the calm. She'll bring the soothing balm. Venus for you is your friendships and your future plans, and it's also your home and living situation. So if you have issues in any of these areas, things will start to ease up, but it's also possible that this is because your emotional self and personal power is going through a radical shift because of that Plutonian energy in your 8th house, especially because of that, right? So big shifts that are happening here in your deep psychological makeup are creating shifts and changes elsewhere in your life as well. So for this, you have the Temperance card, the 2 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles. All right, I'm here for it. So because this is your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, There is money, so there's a lot of conversations around money. I will definitely say that much, right? Because Venus rules money, but so does Mercury. So you've got two money planets in the seventh house, which means contract negotiations around money, finances, and resources are all going to be par for the course at this time. That Ten of Pentacles is great for the house and the home and the dwelling and the living situation. But with the Two of Pentacles, this is money matters and considerations around the home, around the living situation. And with the Temperance card, you want more balance, you want more fairness, you want more equality. And with the Temperance card next to the Two of Pentacles, this is you saying, I'm not here for the drama. Whatever it is, whatever it isn't, fix it or get the fuck out. And I don't mean that it's like, you know, you might not necessarily be throwing someone out, but it's almost like you're throwing out other people's crap. What you will and won't put up with anymore is really very evident in just these three cards. And with such a powerful emphasis on partnerships, relationships, etc., there's something here where new contracts could be coming in. But Two of Pentacles with the Two of Pentacles with the Temperance card, you're like, listen, if I am agreeing to this, if I'm signing on the dotted line here in any way, shape or form, you better make sure that you are able to deliver, because otherwise I'm out. It's almost like Cancer's kind of owning up and saying, you know what, I'm not here for the BS anymore. So, let me pop these down. Your lunations, you will have a new moon in the sign of Capricorn in your seventh house of partnership, relationships, significant others, all manner of contracts at 20 degrees of Capricorn on the 11th of January, right? For this, you've got the gate 50 and responsibility. Don't need to tell Cancer to take responsibility, because usually they take responsibility for everyone, including themselves, right? But with this card, you are being reminded with this Capricornian energy that while you are shifting and changing and adapting yourself and your personal power, that gate 50 card is also about taking responsibility for your actions within the confines of a relationship. So whatever's changing due to the massive pile up of energies in the sign of Capricorn, you have to own your part of it as well. All right. And that's kind of the message there. Now your full moon, which will be in the sign of Leo, your full moon is on the 25th of the month. And that is at 5 degrees of Leo, right? So this is, and this for you is in your second house of money, finances, resources, so close to Venus coming into the seventh house. There are going to be big financial considerations and questions that are taking place at this time for sure. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. And for this, you've got the gate 42 and closing. And the message behind this card is about, yes, closing things down, seeing things through to completion, shutting the door or closing the door on a certain chapter of your life and returning to production. So whatever you've put on hold, that full moon is going to dislodge something and it will get you moving in a specific direction. So if you like how I do this, imagine having one of these on a personal level with me. You can have a personal Astro Tarotscope and various other readings and goods and stuff that I've got. You can get that on the link in the description box below. I'm having a lot of fun with these and my clients are absolutely loving them and getting really good results, so I'm really chuffed with that. There's lots of free resources. You're going to see those on the links in the description box below as well. Check out your year ahead stuff. If you don't know your life path number, check out that as well. Lots of stuff in there as well. With that said, I wish you a wonderful January 2024. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care and I'll see you soon.